People have been asking me to show them how to light a fire using wet wood, wet timber. This is not the perfect way to light a fire. I've got a bit of wood here that I've collected earlier, and I've gone out camping. I've come back, I've gone out for a hike, and I've come back and it rained, and now my firewood's wet. So I've got to try to work out a way to light this fire using what's in my survival tin. A couple items I've substituted so I don't have to open it up. This is not how to light a fire, so let's get at it. You may be thinking, hang on a sec, all those ends are cut off nice and flush. How do you do that with the survival tin? Inside here is an actual chainsaw, not one of those stupid little wire rope ones. You cut timber really well with that chainsaw that's inside here. If you want to see it, go back to one of my other videos, I'll put it up here, where I actually show you everything inside this kit. This is not about the kit today. I'm just going to use what I know I've supplied in here to help you guys get a fire going. So yes, you can cut wood nice and square with what's inside that tin, and that's going to aid me with splitting this timber. All right, so what we got going on here today, we've got a few basic hand tools. Out of my everyday carry, I carry a magnesium rod with a ferro rod on it. You can see it's quite well used. I carry a Speedy Sharp for sharpening my knife, but it's also an excellent fire striker. And I carry a multi-tool because I live in Australia, unfortunately now. I'd be lucky to get away with carrying that. If you've seen how to split a bit of wood before, all good. If you haven't, let's get amongst it. I've got my handy mallet here. Ideally, that is the best option. We're not in the bush today, we're in the backyard. Go on to the shed, get this, because it's easier on my hands. However, you can use another piece of wood. Now inside there are dry fibres. Now keep in mind our supply of dry wood is on the inside of here. The outside's all wet. You can debark it if you want, but sometimes it's not necessary. If you split your wood, follow the knot down and keep it nice high and dry. Now you got 4 bits of dry-ish wood. You can see the water hasn't really soaked into it. It's not probably the best demonstration. People in the comments are going to get upset. It's wet. That one wheeled off to a different direction, didn't it? Now if you're not in a hurry, you can just let this all dry out, but we're in a bit of a hurry. Anyhow, how about we move on to lighting the fire? So you need a good feather stick or 2. Now these are going to be really hard to make feather sticks out of, so you might end up with just a whole heap of nothing straight about them. Very hard wood to work with, so we'll see how we go. Bust these up into smaller bits. Break the fibres up and open. Like that. So you can find a source of dry wood inside wet wood, the point I'm trying to get to. How far are you willing to dig? That's all dry now. I've had to pause the video momentarily. Old mate's up there checking power lines. I dress it all up as if I'm going to light the fire, so I know what I've got. If you think you've got enough, double it, keep going. Let's just get this working a bit better. Now they say to do your feather sticks all the way from the very top all the way to the bottom. I'm not having much joy with this stick doing exactly that. If you're cold and wet and you need to get a fire going, you're going to struggle as well. So at the end of the day, feather stick looks good because it contains all of that, but there's not much difference between breaking that up and doing this. Wind's not going to blow this away, and you're not going to knock it over when you're using your flint. Okay, so the wind's picking up a little bit now. Where's the wind coming from? Let's just use a little divot in the rock. So I'll just get a little chunk of this stuff in there. A little bit of magnesium. Now, as I've mentioned before, I was going to use stuff outside of my survival kit to aid in the lighting of this fire. All I've resorted to so far is a little bit of this cordage that's inside the paracord, a few more little tricks inside that survival kit that'll help us get a fire going. So I'm just going to get that feather stick right up all mixed up in there. Gonna get all our magnesium, shoot a spark straight into the middle of it. Now just build on your fire slowly, add your little bits of timber bit by bit. These are all bits of timber that I've collected from inside my wet wood, as you can see. Once again, using items from inside of this and some basic hand skills and bushcraft, you can get some wet firewood burning. You will have to blow on it from time to time, move some things around. It's not a fire that's in the bag yet, fire that's started, and it's a fire that's going to give you a little bit of hope. I don't ever say the fire's truly going until I can walk away from it for like a good half hour while I go look for more wood. Righto guys, there you go. We went from wet wood to split logs to a going fire. Now at this point, you'll be setting your wet logs across the top like this, okay? Not letting it run away from you. And once the wet timber starts to smoulder and actually begin to catch fire by itself, you drop it straight in the fire pit. You'll know when it's ready. It'll tell you, because it'll catch fire by itself. So just rotate that log around, get all the moisture out of it. You can split it if you want, or you can hang it above your fire till such time as it's ready to go. This was all wet to begin with. You can see some oil and fat, oil and moisture coming out of it now. Once that's burning, that won't stop. Can Aussie Outdoors. That is lighting a fire with wet wood.